Hi, Jim Ziegler, the Alpha Dog, and this is the Dawg Pound. Oh, golly.
Good.
Oh, we got a foursome today, but no matter what you're thinking, I'm talking about four people on the screen. Starting out with my good oh,
I think I'm a bad influence on you.
stop it, Bobby. You are such a bad influence. Starting out with my good friend, exceptional person, expert in just about every phase of executive management in the car business, Jennifer Briggs. Hey, kid.
Hey, Jim. I'm super excited for the topic of the show today.
Oh, yeah, it's social media. We'll talk about all sorts of things. So, how's it going with the wedding yet? We got the countdown started?
We're getting close. It's going really well. Actually, we've got the crew flying in this weekend, and we're going to be doing so much work. So I'm sure you guys will see, speaking of social, you'll see some posts coming up of our progress as we start really putting the last things together.
Fantastic. In case anybody needs to come, what's the date?
In case anybody needs to come for the wedding or to help put the things together, that'd be this weekend. You can come on Saturday.
When's the wedding? When's the wedding?
November 6th.
November 6th. We are getting so close.
We got like 3 weeks.
Okay, wow. And the queen of BDC, I'm talking about a woman that is knowledgeable on all things internet sales, marketing related. She couldn't be here today, but we got Bobby Herring.
You're hilarious today.
I'm in a great mood. How you doing, kid?
I'm doing awesome. I have part of our crew hosting at my house this week before we get into Jen's this weekend. So we've been doing table time and having breakfast, and we host table days, Jim, in our tribe a lot. A lot of people don't know what that is, but if you think of like a hacker movie marathon where you see all those people that go in with computers and they're just all collaborating working on stuff.
Oh, you guys
that's kind of what we do for days on end. We used to do it every month, and we've been doing it quarterly as much as like COVID will allow. So that's what we're doing this week.
Okay.
Solving problems.
One of my new best friends, I recently discovered the power of J&L Marketing. I mean, these guys are super marketing agency, and we're talking about all facets. Matter of fact, they are doing in-depth traditional and complete internet marketing. I'm talking about my good new friend, Scott Joseph. Hey, big guy.
How you doing, Jim? Glad to be on, buddy. Always good to join you.
Okay, well, what's up with J&L? Anything new?
Cranking along. Just got approved through Volkswagen just this last week, so that was a nice OEM addition.
Yeah. Fantastic. So you guys are just trucking right along. I hope everybody takes a look. That's what JNLmarketing.com. What's the website?
www.j.lmarketing.com. So
okay, you got to write A and D out. Don't put a little ampersand. No, J and L. Okay, today's subject is social media, advertising, marketing, sales, car business, marketplace. We're talking about Facebook. We're talking about Instagram. We're talking about LinkedIn. And you can go over to YouTube if we have some conversation about that. Jennifer, start us off. Oh, I do need to do that, don't I? I'll do that right away. Hang on one second. Jennifer, start us off.
So I think it's funny that we talk about keeping YouTube to the very end, because that is kind of its whole beast. So I think when we start talking about social media marketing, you've got to separate this out. You have what is your regular dealership branding. Then you're going to have some engagement marketing, because on social, if you don't get engagement, it really doesn't matter how much money you throw behind it.
Right.
And then you're going to have actual consumer facing, so salespeople, different types of things where you can take that content and then saturate it out against their networks as well to increase your engagement. It has to be multifaceted. It is not just boosts and buying likes anymore. That's not going to cut it.
Okay, you can't buy likes. I got that. I want to get more in depth. Pay per click. Hey, let's start out Facebook pay per click. Let's get right into how to do it.
Bobby, audience targeting.
Bobby, how do you do it?
So social is one of my favorites when it comes to, a pay-per-click version. But I'm big on pulling audiences, right? There used to be the ability to log in and create like audiences, which has changed now. I'm a big advocate if you're running a dealership in the marketing department or if you're working with a partner to pull the information from your CRM and create custom targeting lists. So you're not just blanketing an entire area community and doing drip campaigns, almost like you're subliminally like giving off messages, starting with something as simple as, are you looking for a pre-loved vehicle? What are, that they are because you pulled the data, and then you're slowly dripping to them as you go to bring them back to your website. And it's not a hard thing to do. Facebook business settings aren't difficult once you learn them. And there's many programs out there, whether you're working with a vendor or not, to be able to download and do it. It's more time-based. If you don't have
I want to
it's
get
all
somebody,
time.
hey, Scott, jump in here a second. I want to get somebody that doesn't know anything about anything. Okay, you're looking at your Facebook screen, you go to the back screen. What do you do?
You hire a
Are
partner
you,
at that point.
are you implying that I know nothing?
No. I'm thinking that I am wanting to get more down and dirty to the beginner, that the car dealer that looks at Facebook and says, what in the, what do I do right now?
I think the first thing they should do is, and Bobby kind of alluded this with like audiences, but just customer match, taking the CRM or the DMS data and finding those lists and matching those up. Facebook has the ability to match a decent percentage of those, making sure that you're hitting those with maybe having different types of campaigns for those other than what you might do for the contest or the like audience. So, and you can also exclude them from certain ads as well. So that's the first thing I would do. I would definitely go after remarketing. One thing that we're doing right now, we're doing a lot of remarketing ads for dealers. Obviously, they're shifting budgets, and because they have no inventory, it doesn't make a lot of sense to be doing a ton of ads for new cars. They all need to acquire cars. So a simple remarketing campaign that can be done, and it's been effective for us, at least in our clients. We might go on to say Carvanas trade tool. All right. And we have the ability to remarket to everybody that visits that. So if you've got aggressive dealers in your market that you compete against, you can do the same thing on their website. You can remarket to the customers going in and trying to figure out what the car might be worth or what they might be, they might be wanting to either trade it or sell it. So that's something we're doing to try and acquire vehicles as well.
Wait a second. You just said you hack into Carvana's trade tool?
Well, that's a horrible word.
You mean use Carvanas trade tool?
Wait a minute.
So you're going after really just people that engage on that page and remarketing to them.
Anybody that engages on the page of Carvana's trade tool, you can market to those people.
Correct.
Ooh.
Correct.
Bobby, were you in on that?
I'm real careful about how I explain that kind of thing, but
Yes.
what I can say is that, one of the things that Facebook allows you to do, intentionally or otherwise, is similar to some old school guerrilla marketing techniques that we used to use, only they've gone digital, right? So can you hack into a trade tool and steal some data with the right pixel equation and the right site inspection? Sure. But it goes a long way to just say, you have an entire database of people who you already know are looking for a vehicle.
There's nothing more valuable than your first party.
Customizing that database is so simple. Like for beginners, let's make it real easy here. If you've never used Business Manager or you don't know how to run an ad, go either take the Facebook courses or hop onto YouTube and take a couple quick classes as you're going through it. Download your data from your CRM, upload your data from your CRM, create a pretty little picture, something custom, ship it out. It's that simple to be able to do social. You can get as granular as adding a trade tool that redirects them to your website where you already have a trade tool, getting the widget for that, and then customizing that. Or for example, Jim, like this video we're on right now, at the end of this video, I can look and see how many people watched it, how many went 25% through or 50% through, and then I can target the message to where they dropped off, what we were talking about in the beginning, and send it out to them on your behalf. It's that easy.
Okay, like right now, we are social media marketing. This
Yeah, 100%. We're creating content for engagement.
Content for engagement. Okay, so what if I go to Facebook and I say I want to blow this thing up, and they say you can blow it up for a week for $5, $10, or how effective is that?
$5 won't be that effective.
Okay.
I mean, probably not, but if you upload your audience, it'll be less expensive, and that $5 to get you at least a couple click-throughs.
Right. Depends on what you're trying to do. Are you trying to optimize for impressions, or are you trying to optimize for conversions? And I think that's the same when we talk about paid, whether it's on social or on search or wherever it might be. You've got to decide what is your strategy. Now, it shouldn't be 100% of anything. You do need to have a blend, but I always like to optimize for conversions, because I mean, that's how we covered the bill by selling cars and service work. So that's what I'm looking for.
That's like some lead provider coming in talking about, that they had attribution. I got your attribution right here.
I think there's valuable information, but that's way further ahead than just a dealer not knowing and setting it up. When you look at impressions to clicks and things like that, you're looking at the effectiveness of your ad copy. And quite frankly, that is your agency or your partner's responsibility if you're not doing that in-house. What's your responsibility to make sure, outside of making sure you own your ad manager, that you have the pixels set up, you have all of those basic blocks put in place.
You own your ad manager. Why do you need to do that?
Well, so, I mean, just because you want to be the primary owner and then connect the agency to manage it, because it can create some issues later if you ever separate that relationship.
You mean if you and the agency ever part ways, they could take your ad manager with them?
Or some random salesperson who was an admin on your page.
Right, because it wouldn't have been yours.
Exactly. Own your ad accounts. Own your ad accounts, whether it is on social or it is on Google or wherever. As a dealer, you should own those accounts.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Now say we're I love what we're doing right now, because I think video sells. What about Facebook Marketplace? We need to get to selling cars. Let's sell some cars.
So Marketplace, of course, maybe for some folks on here don't know, just about a month ago, they made a massive change in your organic listings to Marketplace. September 13th, Facebook stopped letting third-party platforms publish your dealership's inventory to Facebook Marketplace. So if you were posting with your chat provider or someone else, then they no longer have the ability to do that. Organic ads or organic listings.
Slow down a second. I just heard something. You're saying the third party. I sometimes I ask questions to which I know the answers.
I know.
Yeah. Okay. Third party is no longer allowed to do what?
To publish your inventory to Facebook Marketplace.
Okay, now let's pretend like we're talking about, just pick one out of the air, cars.com. Can cars.com publish your inventory on Facebook?
Not anymore.
Oh, so no. They can't come in and,
Now, I think they have a dynamic social ad product. I'm not sure, but I believe they do. So what Facebook's play was, and the release they put out was like, to make it better quality for dealers, so we have more work to do, you can only post a certain amount. But if you want your cars to still show up, then you should spend money on dynamic ads on Facebook for your inventory.
Wait a minute. What do you know about this, Scott?
It needs to be done manually now. That's what it basically comes down to, instead of having it being done automatically.
Okay, so you can't automate it. You've got to do it. When you do it manually, Bobby, describe that process.
Super fun. Well, we're talking about two different things when we talk about social advertising. We have regular advertising on social media, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and then we have Facebook Marketplace. And so previously, when they were automatically sending our feeds, it was easy. It would just pull it from the inventory feed and send it over. Now you have to log in and manually, just like it sounds, you have to manually put the vehicle in, put in all of the information, and there's a limit on how many times you can do that in a certain direction of time.
Can a
This
dealer,
allows for an upsell on ad
how much
packages.
of that can a dealer automate? I mean, if we're not using an agency, so how much of that can a dealer automate?
Well, you can't automate it unless, of course, you have like a super awesome technology person that writes a feed that it actually accepts, but it won't. Which I think in the play for that with Facebook, though, is that now you have to use a dynamic ad category. That was free for a long time, but from a consumer perspective, it was frustrating because all of the inventory is showing on there, and it's not doing the dealership a lot of favors to have it on there because they're responding in a CRM. And when you think about Facebook Marketplace the way it is, the top CTAs on there are like, are this available? So a lot of customers are just going to hit that button. Somebody's going to call and send them an email. They're not going to correspond that way. So the conversion rate on it wasn't as high as it should be anyways. And you can get a lot further with the dynamic ads and with the social advertising.
How effective is Facebook, everybody?
Very
Unbelievable.
One of the most
One of
effective
the
right
most-
now. I mean, and it's been this way. I mean, the paid search, Google ad auctions have been inflated for a hot minute now. The results, when you're looking at the cost per conversion, the cost per opportunity, they've been super inflated. So a lot of us have shifted and pulled budget back from there and invested more heavily in social ads because it's a more efficient way. If I can get somebody from Facebook on a dynamic inventory ad, so dynamic inventory meaning it is my unit that they see, I can get them for like 45 cents a click through to the website from Facebook,
Right.
where I'm going to have to pay like $1.85 on paid search.
That's what I'm looking for. Let's get right down.
It's like,
Yeah.
think about it like this, okay? Think about it as if, because this is how I always explain it in stores. Basically, I'm gonna take a little baby robot, and you're gonna be like, oh, look at the little baby robot, I wanna play with it. And that robot is gonna take you home to the website, and it's gonna talk to its parents, the pixels, and it's gonna tell them everything you've been doing, and where you guys been on vacation.
You're
And then
telling
you're gonna be
dealers
like, thanks for dinner. Oh yeah, thanks for dinner. And it leaves, and the baby robot goes, oh, I wanna come play with you again. But it microchipped you while you were there, and now can locate you anywhere. And everything that's showing up is like exactly what the customer wants to see. I'm telling you, as a dealer, if I canceled every piece of advertising that I had, social media, Facebook and Instagram is the one that I would absolutely not get rid of. As a matter of fact, I'd get rid of my website before I would get rid of the social media advertising, because you really don't need it as much as you think you do if your pages are built out right and you're doing the social media advertising on there.
Okay, social media advertising can couple with your GMB. That's probably everything you need to do right now. If you had to, Scott says no.
I wouldn't put all the eggs in that basket. However,
if you had to, it's not the one you would pick. If you had to only keep one.
What I love about it right now is that Marketplace does extremely well on used vehicles, and that's all the dealers have anyways, and they don't have enough of those. So I mean, that's one thing. So it's
well, Scott, let me stop you 1 second. Let's pretend that we got normal inventory again. Let's pretend that we're 6 months from now, a year from now, and all of a sudden the chip shortage is gone. We got cars again. Now, think of it that way.
I'm always amazed. I don't disagree with what everybody's saying. I'm always amazed when we bring on a client, or we're looking at a client's account and we're trying to gain a new client, and I see the amount of money they might spend in search. I mean, there are some dealers out there probably spending 4 to 5 times more than they should in that area. I don't think that you take money from search. We're highly effective in search. However, we don't spend to a budget. So in other words, you should only be spending depending on the client's goals. So let's put it this way.
Okay, to the effectiveness of it is what you're saying. You only should be spending to the effectiveness. Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct. And a lot of times you run into problems because there might be people out there that spend to a budget. And so when you spend to a budget,
everybody pay attention. He said, you have agencies out there that are trying to get you to spend to a budget amount. You say, hey, I want to spend $25,000 this month. and that agency is going to hit that 25,000. Am I paraphrasing this right, Scott?
Well, let's
Or
take the
120%
conversation.
of it.
Or 120% of it,
Because
yeah.
that's what Google will let them do.
Yeah.
One of the things that we try to do, and if we were to go to a dealer and say, all right, what's your strategy? All right, where are you spending your money? Do you know what they would tell us? They would probably sit there and say, well, I spend this much on Facebook, I spend this much on search, I spend this much on whatever, right? But that's not a strategy. That's just a division of spend going to certain channels. The strategy needs to be, especially now when you have low inventory, how much are you spending on new? How much are you spending on pre-owned? How much are you spending on parts and service? How much are you spending on branding?
Listen
And
to the man.
Wait, Scott, back up, because you forgot a very key important thing right now, since new car inventory is so low, and it can be categorized with pre-owned. But do not forget that we are masters in the art of the switch, and you should be acquiring and marketing certified pre-owned right now.
Absolutely.
If you're not, you're missing the boat.
Yeah. So what are you doing from new, used, and then at the same time, all of that needs to be overlapped between what percentage do you want to have going towards retention versus new or conquest business. So if you were asked a dealer,
say that louder, Scott.
New or new conquest compared to retention, what's your percentage of your total budget in the categories of new, used, parts and service, and then what was the other one? Oh, branding. Those would be divided over those two categories. But if you ask a dealer what their strategy is currently, they don't know those numbers. They don't know how much they're spending for new, how much they're spending for used, parts and service, or branding. They can tell you how much they're spending in certain channels. Here's what I'm spending on Facebook. But they don't know that. And if you don't know that, it means the conversations you're having, whether it's weekly or monthly with your agency, are probably not the right conversations.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and in knowing that too, like, you think about for a minute, when you're working with an agency or you're working with any vendor partner to do your social media, a lot of times what's happening is it's blanketed. It's like, okay, what community, what zip code do you want to hit? Okay, I want to hit this zip code. All right, I want to do this whole area. And while that's an easy approach to what we're trying to do, that's not any different than just going onto Google and doing an ad that way. Really, the way that you use social media is to get really granular with it. Like Facebook has, in September, they did all these new releases. So one of them was to the business suite. And now we have a split testing feature in there. So you don't have to guess if you like an ad. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. It'll tell you what's actually performing the right way, right? And when you think about how that works for the dealership, if you're doing it internally and you guys really want to do it on your own, use the split testing feature. It doesn't matter if you like it. It matters if your audience does. Messenger has a new feature that came out.
Demographics. I mean, what demographics do you want to solicit to? It's starting with a zip code. I liken it to when I used to do a lot of direct mail advertising.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, I want women 18 to 35 that live in this zip code. Okay.
This is
then I
mail.
want women who are tennis players 18 to 35 that live in the zip code. Now you're funneling down this list to specifics.
Right.
Same thing with pay-per-click.
Well,
am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. But what it is you're building, just like in any marketing, any good marketing, you build a persona, multiple personas of the type of buyer that you're targeting. And then you build into it what they're looking at. And that's the type of messaging you use. I'll give you a really good example. If in your analytics, you see that a subset of your customer base is really researching real estate hard, right? Their behavior and interest shows this. Then the ad that I'm going to show that demographic of people on social is going to have a brand new car that I'm selling you parked in a driveway of a house with a for sale sign and a happy little family. And that's how I'm going to market to you, because I'm going to use the data that I already have at my fingertips to create a buyer persona. Instead of getting sloppy and being like, here's an OEM picture of a car, let's slap that sucker out to the whole zip code. And that's how you get it for 45 cents a click. And a dealer can do that. Just like Instagram has this new feature that's come out that's a click to chat button that leads to WhatsApp from the Instagram profile. That's incredible. If you know that you have dynamic WhatsApp
We were
users.
going there. Now you've already gone there. Talk about it.
I get excited. Instagram's my favorite for advertising.
Okay,
more than
Instagram.
anything.
What's good about it? Facebook owns Instagram. What's the difference?
Oh man,
It's a big difference.
Why?
The ad manager is the same, but I think that the way that people engage with the content on Instagram is so much different than Facebook. And I will tell you, not just as an advertiser, I buy everything that Instagram tells me to buy. I'm not
because it's
kidding.
psychic. It knows. It reads you. It's like, let me envelop you in love. You need this mascara, and I'm like, you're right. I was just looking for mascara this morning.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, how do you advertise on Instagram? What do you do?
So Instagram is a similar model as Facebook is. It's just a different demographic in the style that we consume it. Where on Facebook, we're going to have text, we're going to have linking, we're going to have overlays. On Instagram, it's just a cleaner user interface. It's the image is what attracts the person. And the algorithm matters even more because there's less engagement on Instagram than there is on Facebook. Like Facebook is using different types of ad demographics to decide if you're relevant or not. The engagement level on Instagram is completely different. It's more unique and it's more in tune. It's easier, I think, to go back and retarget somebody on Instagram on a granular level than it is when we're looking at like Facebook, for example. And it's a different type of user. I mean, find me a 21-year-old who's on Facebook anywhere near as much as they're on Instagram, and they're my buyer in 3 years. So I want to be in front of them now.
Right.
I want to throw something out there that I know nothing about. TikTok.
Ooh, well, Facebook just came out with Facebook Reels is finally launched, which is their version of like a TikTok advertising.
I know nothing about TikTok, but all of a sudden I'm seeing all this momentum. Scott, what are you seeing?
I tell you, sometimes if I'm bored, all right, I've got to pull myself away from those reels. And so some of them are hilarious, but that's how we consume content. So I think it's like 82%. We just put out a blog on this. So don't hold me to the number, but I'm almost positive it's 82% of millennials and Gen Z claim or state that they watch user created videos, short videos on the daily basis. So that's your TikTok, your reels, and things such as that. So to me, and if you look at the engagement on those, to me, they're better than anything else that we're posting on just our news feeds.
Yeah.
I feel like
I don't like the new length though. That new 3-minute length, I'm not a fan. I can't pay attention for that long as I'm looking through things, and that makes the rabbit hole last even longer hours.
Well, and I think with that extension of the content that they're offering, and the thing that is really unique about TikTok, I kind of think of like TikTok a little bit like Etsy, right? It's handmade. It's not a studio produced ad. Even the actual commercials are shot to look like user. Sometimes I don't even realize it's a commercial until that little thing pops up at the end that says this is a commercial.
It's disguised as user generated.
It is disguised as user generated. I think there have been several different dealerships get on there, and
that's what I'm looking for. Are dealerships using TikTok?
There are some dealerships, there's some salespeople, there's some F&I folks that are out there. They're creating educational content, or what I've seen, and it's really funny because you can tell the difference from a professional marketer and then the young kid that they said, hey, TikTok, because they're using all the trendy sounds to get more views, but it's not necessarily the right demographic to sell service or cars. I do think that their algorithm is probably the most accurate that I've seen. I've not seen it applied in the advertising sense yet.
Well, and here's the scary part about it, right? As fast as things change and as quickly as we lose our appetite or attention span switches to something else, the demographic for that channel right now is younger. It's not necessarily in the car buying. So we run the risk of throwing not all our eggs, but we run the risk of starting to dive into that and paying a lot of attention to it. And then by the time, they're ready to buy something or service vehicles, TikTok is no longer the thing. And so I doubt if it would happen that quick. But I mean, there is a chance of that. It doesn't mean you should ignore it. It's just a decision that's going to have to be made.
I think it's a smart place to advertise your parts and accessories. I think it's a smart place if you have a power sports store, you got some merch you want to put out there. I think it's definitely a smart place to advertise and link that stuff back. And I'm sure there's some folks out there using it who would disagree. They're using it organically. There's a difference between your organic and then the ads. I think that's where I'm still waiting to see that ad network develop to where it can really be beneficial for both the front and the back of the house in our space.
I've got somebody.
I gotta disagree. I gotta kind of disagree, Scott, because Statista, so listen, not Harvard, I'm good, like fact-based checking, says that the age group of 30 to 39 represents 21.7% of the users on TikTok. 40 to 49 is 20.3. That means that the over 30 age category between those two groups and over 50 being 11 is 50% of the users on that channel. And while I don't think that you should run an ad necessarily on TikTok, because God, you'd have to do it right, the self-generated content, the brand awareness, the influence of it is incredible. And sometimes I think we forget, and I don't mean you forget, I mean just in general, we forget that it is as important, if not more important, to maintain and create organic content as it is to pay for an ad. It is of utmost important.
Wait, say it again.
Bobby, you can disagree with me. It just means you're probably wrong. And then, no.
I love that.
Wait,
I agree 100% with what you guys are saying here. So we have stores. I don't have any stores running ads on TikTok. None. But I do have stores aggressively using TikTok, especially with their salespeople and say some of their managers. And so the organic side, I think,
okay, we got millennials communicating with millennials is what you're saying.
No, Gen Z is all, but Jim, you got to realize now it's shifting from Bobby is like in the midsection of a millennial, right?
So I'm at the end.
Oh my
I'm the last year.
Hey, don't tell people that. I was trying to throw you in.
I didn't realize how old you were.
That's right. Girl, I look good for 40. I'll take it.
but go ahead.
Look at what wait a minute. Look at what one of our Facebook users is printed on the screen here. I brought it up.
I don't disagree with that. I don't have the factual estimates on that, but I know that print advertising is something that I've read more and more, but not for vehicles and stuff. Like I'm physically reading automotive news now while I'm sitting outside having coffee instead of reading it on my phone.
I've always said that newspaper is really effective if you're training a puppy, you know?
Yeah, I don't know the data.
Here's the problem with the newspaper. It's a toss in the dark. Sure, people read newspapers. If not, they would be out of business. Sure, people might look at ads on there, but I can track you around with a puppy robot. Why in the world would I put an ad in a newspaper instead?
Exactly. So anyway, we're talking about TikTok. We're talking about Instagram. We brushed over Instagram. I'd like to go back there a second. How many dealers are using that, Scott?
All of ours.
All of us. Okay. See, Scott's with J&L Marketing, one of the premier marketing agencies in the known universe. The guy's much smarter than he looks. Trust me. You know, the guy's much brighter than he looks. Yeah. Anyway,
that's not saying.
Okay. I don't know who this is.
I was gonna say, I don't think they're talking about newspaper. I was trying to find the user to message them real quick. I think they're talking about direct
mail.
Print.
Oh yeah, I don't think direct mail is dead. I think direct mail has a place when used in conjunction with all of these things.
Let's hang on one second. Let's take this back to what we were just talking about a second ago. Direct mail. You need to decide what percentage you want to be your database or loyalty and retention and what you want to be conquest, just like we're talking about for social. You need to use your audience list in order to get the right message to the right person at the right time. We were literally talking about the same exact execution on the tactic.
Right. I didn't want to go to direct mail in this conversation.
Hey, I
somebody drifted us off in that direction. we go from social media to direct mail. All of a sudden, we're doing multi-channel. We're getting to television next. Now, I want to
let's
stay.
go back to Instagram for a second.
Yeah, let's go back to Instagram, because I'm hearing. I talk to 100 dealers a month on the keyboard or on the phone. 100 principal dealers, and I'm talking to some pretty established dealers, and I'm starting to hear that Instagram is outperforming Facebook's with where they're putting their money now. And I don't know enough about it to make an intelligent conversation one way or another. Briggs, jump in there.
Yeah, I'd be curious, because I'd like to see the actual conversion data on it when they say that Instagram is making more of an impact than Facebook. I have not seen that, not in the referral traffic, not in the conversion traffic. So
that's why I ask you, because you are statistics all over the place. I mean, if I need to know statistics, I go to you. So
listen,
tell me.
I think that if they're having more success organically or on paid, that would be my question to those dealers, Jim, because when we see that in our Highline stores, we have a lot better success on Instagram because the cars are sexier, the content is sexier, and that is designed to be a video and an image, a very visual platform, but that's on the organic side of it. When we start looking at the paid side, again, I buy everything there, but I think the most expensive thing I bought from Instagram was like $300. So the price point in conversion is always what I look at. So that would be my question is, are you talking about organically, or are you talking about paid?
I don't know. Ask Scott. Scott?
I can tell you we have a very large, I know this is not auto, but it still applies. We have a very large food and beverage company, Melinda's Hot Sauce. So I don't know if you've heard of them.
I use them.
No, but I'll get tagged in it now on Instagram. So I will be
I'm a Melinda's Hot Sauce fan.
So we run their digital marketing, and I can tell you the engagement that we get on IG definitely outweighs Facebook when it comes to that vertical.
And what's the price point of that hot sauce? That's the thing I think is going to be
$8.99 for the triple X.
So
yeah, but engagement's engagement, right? I mean, if we're running relevant ads and we've got the right audiences, so but our dealers are seeing the same thing. So it's the engagement seems to be higher on Instagram than it is on Facebook.
That's where I'm going. Okay, good. Okay, we got that out. Bobby, jump in there.
So we know that 81% of Instagram users use the platform to research and to discover new potential purchases, right? And many of them will use that platform to even make purchases directly. But in what Jennifer is saying, am I going to buy a car directly off of Instagram the way that I'm going to push a button for lipstick, a mascara, a pet brush that I need? No. But the minute I do engage with that, it's some sexy content and a small video, and I watch it. Now, as a marketer, I have the ability to go and capture that customer, figure out what platform is working the best for them, and serve up the same content on all of them in a very inexpensive way. But think about for a minute this. I want you to pretend you're an RV dealer, power sports dealer, whatever. I'm going to use RVs. There are so many ways to brand yourself using RV. Somebody out in the community and it's staging one the way that you would real estate, doing a fun little, hi, I'm like running out. There's these great RV sites that do this. And they're not selling on Instagram, they're connecting. And then they have the opportunity to retarget and sell the opportunity to that customer to go to their website and then get even more granular.
Okay, they're connecting. They're not selling, but they're connecting, and they're referring the customer back to the website, or they putting the customer on the website. Okay. That's what I want to. My goal in so much advertising today is to put the customer on our website, and the website needs to convert. Does that make sense?
Well, as long as you land the traffic at the right place.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Briggs
Listen,
is making trouble.
as long as we're talking, as long as we get an opportunity to engage and talk with them and sell them a car, who cares if they go to the website? But the website does have to convert. But what happens if they're through Facebook and they go through Messenger? I don't care if they ever go to my website.
Right, different situation though, because if a customer is going to engage through Messenger, then I'm going to engage back with them the same way. And we teach this all the time in dealerships for communication, because your marketing doesn't matter if you're not present when the customer wants to connect.
Okay, one of my friends, Stephanie Pash, has just put a statement on the screen. Everybody respond to it.
Yes, that's Stephanie. That's basically what I was just saying. I think that when we look at, and Bobby is not wrong when we talk about content and education, and you can sell a lot of relationships through education, especially in our space. And if you find that niche demographic you're trying to serve and you start educating them instead of trying to sell them, creating that relationship is huge. But when it comes to the dynamic, that's through branding ads, but it is a lot through that organic content that you're creating. So when it comes to the paid side, I agree with Stephanie, at least in the auto space. And Scott, you're in a lot more verticals than I've seen. I'm just a good old fashioned car guy. So, I think that the price point for what we're selling as far as the front of the house is a lot different. Now, targeting different channels for upfitting or for this or for that, for, like I said earlier, parts and accessories can be totally different as far as the ROI goes.
Instagram's great for
employment ads. Yes.
Here's the thing we run into is that it's often forgotten that marketing, everything touches each other. And so instead of having 17 different ads running on 17 different channels, it's supposed to be a consistent message across the board from the time that we put it out to the desired persona, meeting an objective using granular marketing and the data that we have. We're going to try to sell or have the opportunity to connect on Facebook, on Instagram. I want people to see people having fun at the dealership. Same thing with TikTok, having a little jazz in the afternoon, good energy, lightheartedness. The only difference from dealer to dealer is the experience we provide. They don't see that when it's a bunch of OEM crap running. So everything organically and paid has its place, but they all work together. They're they're holding hands, and if not, they're broke up, and that's why the strategy isn't working for the store. And it's easy for people in store to try this. I'm not saying everybody's going to be a superstar and you won't need an agency, but if you don't have the ability to have one right now, or you're the influencer in the store who can't talk your boss into closing on one, then get in there and just try it. It's pretty basic. It walks you through every checklist of everything that you can choose, exactly how to do it. If you're about to mess it up, it has split A/B testing to tell you which one it is. All you got to do is take a swing. Just get up there and take a swing.
You need to carve out, if you don't already have ad manager set up on your dealership's profile, just carve out, I would say probably like an hour and 20 minutes. You can figure it out.
Okay, so now I got a subject that's kind of interesting. LinkedIn.
LinkedIn has its place.
Okay, well, LinkedIn has a hell of a place, but I don't think anybody has mastered how to use it.
Oh, I've been using it for fleet sales for years.
Yeah.
Commercial and fleet for years.
Yeah, LinkedIn. When I go on LinkedIn, I get
Jennifer's using it, Jim, more towards, she's thinking business wise, right? She's thinking, all right, who's on LinkedIn most? Why are they using that thing? So that's why she's going on the fleet side of it with a fleet strategy on that.
Well, what are you doing with it?
No, I think that's the right way to do it. So recruiting,
yeah.
I'm assuming we're talking about sales and service on here, though. So I mean,
but I will tell you, LinkedIn's got that executive audience. They've got a mature audience, and they've got a very responsive audience. And I'm wondering if everybody
sense on the fleet side.
Well, no, why not the retail side?
I don't think that it couldn't work. I'm just saying that your money is to me, digital marketing is just all about optimizing it and spending it where you get the best bang for your buck. So if you're going to get a lot more through the VIN ads, the dynamic inventory ads on Facebook, on that paid media, why would you take money away from that if it's cranking and put it into a LinkedIn thing? But at the same time, on the fleet side, I can easily see why you would, if a dealer's got a budget for that and they want to pursue that, then absolutely, I think LinkedIn has to be part of that strategy.
Okay, so Bobby, jump in. LinkedIn, are you using it?
Not in terms of car sales, because I don't think that's the audience isn't there to consume that kind of content. Really? But educational, or like if I'm at a conference, I'm using it to get people to come say hello, sharing different educational things. And you can, I'm not saying that you couldn't sell things like a car on there, but there is a better, less expensive, better way to spend your money when it comes to digital than being on there. Now, vendor to vendor, business to business, different situation, but B2C, I just haven't seen a real result there.
So Jim, if I was more in the day-to-day operations of the dealerships that I own. Here's how I would use LinkedIn. I would be reaching out to fellow business owners in the community, and I would be working out strategic alliances with other local businesses, and I would be using it that way. No different than we as vendors use LinkedIn to try and reach potential customers or have strategic alliances and build our networks. So if I'm a dealer or general manager, I would be using LinkedIn more organically, trying to build relationships within my community that they would have, especially with people that have influence, like their employees and things such as that.
Well, when I think of LinkedIn, in the 1920s, bank robber Willie Sutton got out of prison, and people said, "Willie, why do you rob banks?" And Willie said, "Because that's where the money is." So when I look at LinkedIn, I'm looking at, if I want to sell Mercedes, where's my buyers? You know,
A B2B platform, I think, is
where
perfect
are
for
the
LinkedIn,
where
but
are the
B2C.
people? Where's the money? That's where the money is. Where are the people? And
Yeah,
the way that we
think,
consume it, though, is different.
Yeah, I do think we consume it differently. It doesn't mean that it can't be utilized for, getting your information in front of them, but not necessarily. I wouldn't put an ad for, a GLS on there. Now I
okay,
might
well,
talk about
I'm looking at
about
three of the top experts in the world.
our concierge services on how, when you purchase from my dealership, we are going to pick up, we are going to drop off, we're going to do those things. But another thing, a lot of times, to follow up on something that Scott said, about creating those networks with local businesses. I mean, local backlinks, huge, 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 right? Create those relationships, ask for that as well. But it is not that difficult to create an employee purchase program for any company in your community. Build a page on your website, put a post or an article out on LinkedIn, have them share it, have them put it on their company site. That is not difficult. I did that with 3 different large employers in the Detroit market a few years ago. They were ecstatic. They thought I was doing them a favor, and they were large hospital systems, which had fantastic domain authority on their websites. So that's not complicated. It's just about, like Scott said in the beginning, what is your strategy?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you trying to reach? What are you trying to do? And so, that comes into play. Each of these is going to serve a different audience. And I agree with Bobby. When I go on LinkedIn, I'm not looking for payment type ads. I'm not looking for those types of things. Although I did just get served with a virtual assistant ad. So it's telling me something.
I had to throw that out there. So we got a couple of minutes left. Let's go back to the main theme. What social media is the most effective per dollar spent organically, which is the most effective? I've got one of the premier advertising agencies in the world. I got two internet geniuses on the other 2 squares here, and I'm just an instigator. I'm just here to stir it up, So, what is the most effective organically, pay per click? What would you? I've got an agency. Go to Scott first. Scott, where are you putting your clients' money?
Well, organically, I don't handle any of that. So on the paid side, we would probably be doing the dynamic inventory ads on Facebook if we had to choose anything.
Okay, well, let's look at
You got to remember, you're going to reach more customers on Facebook than Instagram as well. So to me, there's a bigger audience there. Not meaning bigger audience of quality traffic on that platform. So if I had to choose one, it would be that.
Bobby?
If I had to choose one for advertising purposes, it would definitely be Facebook. It overrides Instagram in that way, but also I use my Facebook pixel in a totally different kind of way. If I have somebody come over from LinkedIn, if I was going to do a LinkedIn thing and bring them over on an article that landed on a deep VDP, then I'm going to use the pixel on that to then hit them on Facebook later. The ability to get granular, not just when I say granular, I want to make sure everybody understands. I don't just mean as a marketer to really target people. I also mean from the consumer perspective to get what you're actually looking for. That's why it feels magic, and it's super inexpensive, and you can really target it. But the best marketing that you can do on social media really comes down to the one that you actually use. If it's a consistent message across the spectrum, if everybody in the store is aware, and if you know how to communicate with that customer to actually turn it into an opportunity, that's the best kind of marketing.
Okay, Jennifer, jump in.
So I'm going to deviate from Scott and Bobby, who were referencing the paid side of social media.
They have a right to be wrong.
No.
Rare, but it happens.
On the paid side, I agree. Well, I definitely agree as far as the lower funnel sales opportunities. I think when we talk organically, I'm actually going to bring up something we haven't talked a lot about, and I'm going to take us back to 2014 when Google decided to take Google Places and Google Plus. If you guys remember, Google Plus was Google's play at Instagram, right? It was that image and offer type social platform. Didn't stand alone, but it didn't go away because now it's a component in Google My Business. So organically, even though it's half social, half not, I'm going to say Google My Business.
Well, you have to. I mean, the local SEO opportunity there, the frequently asked questions, and the ad drive that you can do is insane.
Well,
I'll say this. I think Google My Business is probably the most underused or most under-optimized tool available to dealers, and it's free.
It's free, and it's
let me tell you, you want to take advantage of it because it's probably not going to be free long.
You don't even need a website if you effectively use GMB.
Actually, if you effectively use GMB, you can create a website through Google My Business. You can do that. I mean, it's not something we would do to be able to, we wouldn't recommend that, but you can create your own Google My Business web page. And with everything that's happening there, I mean, just watch out. We've got a brand new pilot. Well, it's not even a pilot yet. It's a beta coming out from Google as far as a paid placement tied into some of that GMB information. So that's going to be a game changer in the fourth quarter.
Anytime that we do a topic like our webinar or anything like that, anytime it's on Google My Business, it's always one of our most attended webinars. And it's because there's not a ton of money in it for agencies. So I don't know how many agencies are out there really going all out on it. And so, but it's definitely, it's so underused. Everybody's got it, but most do not have it set up the proper way and don't utilize all the functions.
Now, do you do that as an agency, Scott?
We teach and educate on it and use it as a top funnel for us for leads in that sense, but we don't help manage their Google My Business, but we can definitely help people on it. We've done 2 or 3 webinars on it that I can remember.
So I'm going to just share one tip with everybody right now as far as actually looking at your traffic in Google Analytics, because if you don't set up the UTM tags on your links on your GMB profile, all of that traffic is just going to show as Google organic. It is not going to be separated between what's coming in from Google My Business as a campaign. So don't do it just because Google tells you to, which, side note, they weight against you if you don't, as far as your profile completeness goes. But it will actually help you to be able to see this is organically coming from search, and this is what's coming from Google My Business. And it is going to be more and more important. If you haven't already read Google's Dealer Guidebook 2.5, I mean, we're going from the 1-click conversion that they've been pushing us to what they want to be a 0-click conversion, which I'm not exactly sure how that one's going to work, but but that's a whole different show.
Oh, wow. This has been.
So let me
jump in.
Let me ask. So would you guys all say like the VIN retargeting ads are probably the most effective, cost effective? Is that fair to say on Facebook?
Well, retargeting, it makes it a little bit pricier, but the dynamic ads, so if I'm putting that remarketing pixel on, I think it drives the cost up a little bit, but just the dynamic inventory ads have been the most.
Yeah, but I'm not talking, I don't care about the front end cost. I care about the back end. In other words, what's the cost per sale? So my thing with this is this. There are other ways that you can I guess, drive some of your, because here's the thing, your Facebook ads, the biggest challenge in Facebook is every single quarter or every single 6 months, your ads have to perform about 20 to 25% better than they did prior. And the reason for that is typically the costs continue to go up. So if your ads are performing the same, all right, and you're not outpacing the increase in cost, then you're going to get a lower ROI. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So one thing you can do if you find that your remarketing ads are producing better than, say, other strategies within Facebook, how can you drive more traffic to your website cheaply? And that could be inbound strategies with blogs, whatever. And that might be where some LinkedIn stuff comes in. I don't know, but that would be organic. So they get people to your website. And the more traffic that goes to your website, the more audience, the bigger the audience you can build on the remarketing side as well. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I
Bobby,
think that
Jennifer, what's your input on that?
Now, Scott, I think you're a different story, but I think we have a lot of agencies out there that are dumping a ton of traffic so that they can run a bigger remarketing spend. And the traffic is on site for like 2 seconds. I don't really want to remarket those people. So there are a lot of inefficiencies out there, guys. So
they're driving traffic that hits and bounces.
Well, what Jennifer's talking about. Yeah, I get what Jennifer's talking about. That's not what I'm referring to. So
yeah, I know it's not. I just like to say buyer beware, because these are great tips that we share on the show, guys. Everybody who's watching, whether you're live or in replay, but you really need to make sure as you're engaging with a partner on that you're really looking at it. And I just did a training class for an internal marketing team, and I think some of them are on here watching, and part of it was teaching them how to spot when the agencies are trying to smoke and mirror them, how you can slice and dice that information in analytics to make sure that you're actually getting good quality traffic and not people overinflating your numbers.
So I want to, because we're going to come out of time, I want to give a free tip out to the audience. And it's an important one, in my opinion. If you're a beginner or you're intermediate or you're advanced, one of the hardest things to do with social to understand it is try to figure out what blogs to read, where to go, how to get the knowledge for it, where it doesn't read like a robot and you can get it. So I would tell you, one of my favorite blogs is the Ad Espresso is the name of the website. Just Google though, don't go to the site and try to find it, okay? You're gonna get pixeled and it's a nightmare. Ad Espresso blog. And I've never shared that publicly before because I use them so much. And it seems like one of those things that you don't like put out, it's non-automotive. It makes understanding what we're talking about so simple. It explains it, it videos it, it walks it through, it tells you the top categories. You can use the tool. I personally use the tool, but the blog is free. So go and look at the blog and just scan through the first thing. And all the things we're talking about are on there with real stats, real links, and real information. It's the best thing you can do for yourself to hold a vendor accountable or to do it internally as well.
Bobby, do you rate that blog second or third behind the J&L Marketing blog?
I'm actually having interviews for the J&L Marketing blog this week, and I accept Tiffany presents. No, I'm just kidding. I actually haven't read the blog, and I'm sorry to say that. So I should get over there and take a look at it.
I'm just teasing you.
You know what? How I found that though was through search about 2 years ago. So if you need any help with your search coming up in that blog, let me know. I'll hook you up.
That was a good one. I have to apologize because I think actually Lindsay Shaker told me about Ad Espresso like 4 or 5 years ago. I was slacking.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I'm telling you right now, they have a Facebook group. I love the product. So if you're going to start out on your own, this is an easy product. But recently, the new update through Business Manager that came out this month, is it October? Came out late last month, actually does a similar function to it now with the split testing. But the blog is incredible. It's just incredible.
I have to tell you, the social platform that I have the most success with, at least I guess on a business leader executive level, is Clubhouse in terms of building fast networks. And I don't know what has anyone heard of any dealers starting rooms that might be educational or set up rooms in a way that
I missed
they
something.
become a trusted source.
Yeah.
Where they become a trusted source.
Glenn Lundy and Michelle McLean, that the Rise and Grind Breakfast Club, somebody help me because my brain is dead. Their breakfast show that goes like all morning is incredible. And forgive me for not knowing all the founders of it, but the networking in there is educational.
So there's a lot of auto people in there. Scott Simons is one of them.
Yeah.
So, and formerly David Spizak and stuff like that. But the thing with that is, I don't see any dealerships doing exclusive rooms where they might be able to reach out to their local community, establish some type of, and become some type of authority figure or trust, build trust and stuff, giving how-to tips, whether it's maintenance or things such as that.
Who would join it, right? Because everything is sell, sell, sell with the dealership all the time instead of trusted content. But why not try it, right? It's free.
You'd have to do it in a way that, you wouldn't want to be on there selling. So you'd have to do it because what I found is I've built more big time key relationships in just 6 months on that app, more than I probably have in the last 2 years on all my other social apps combined.
I really like Clubhouse a lot. I have not been as active on it like the last 4 or 5 months because it's a distraction for me. And right now I don't have time to rabbit hole. It is. It's hard. It's not that the connections don't matter or that I don't want to put the time into them, but right now that's not the priority. So we got to wait.
Bobby, what you need, all right, is you need every now and then to put a room in, drop your phone in the jar and seal it up so you can squat in a room and get your followers and then not be distracted.
Okay, guys, we are past the 1 hour mark. We have had one hell of a great dog pound today. Briggs, last word. What did we get out of today?
This is not what it used to be. If you're still sitting around and you think that social can't sell cars, you are missing out, and you need to make a shift, a hard shift, because that's where the audiences are.
And I think we established Facebook and Instagram is where you probably need to be looking really hard.
For ad spend, all day.
Yeah. Okay, Bobby.
Yes.
Final
Today
words.
was great. I love this topic. Social is one of my favorite things, obviously, especially when it comes to ads. And I think for everybody that's watching, we can't always see your comments and stuff. So if we didn't say hello or whatever, we just don't see it until we get off.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that is in the private groups that we can't see. And it comes across as Facebook user, and that's coming out of the private groups because the private groups don't want to identify their members. Facebook's got a thing about that. So
and I would tell you guys, I always forget this. Our company is usually booked out for a solid year, and we just have one opening that has risen and is available before December. So
Bobby has an opening. There's her email address. Get on it right now.
Yeah, that will book out fast.
All right, and Scott Joseph, J&L Marketing, full service agency. Final words.
We've got a 2-year waiting list, so I don't have an opening. No,
don't even bother to check him out.
I'm joking. I love the topic, and I feel like we could have went on and on. Like, we didn't even get a chance to cover video much. And how it can be used, or how to take content that and how about all the videos that we can use, whether it's on paid or even organic, and how do we leverage those assets to take the burden of kind of creating content off of us and leverage those over different ways and all the different, ways that we can use it organically with our salespeople
do you want to come back next week and do video?
Oh, we could do a whole show on VSEO and YouTube.
Do we want to do VSEO, Bobby?
Of course we do.
Okay, audience, I'm going to ask Scott back next week. We're going to do VSEO. I'm actually going to try to stack up a couple other video experts. Let's get this thing rocking and rolling. And Dawg Pound, say bye.
Bye.